Welcome to Conscious Living Collective, transformative journey in consciousness with community of like-minded people from around the world, which is you. My name is Tomek. I'm a scientist, teacher, and transformation coach. In this session, we blend the latest in scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of fulfilled living. This is an invitation to have your own direct experience and rewrite your story to emerge on the other side with a renewed sense of purpose and well-being. Welcome to another session. Very good to see you here. And right here at the start, I want to start with very warm greetings to all of you who decided to join, starting with the members of my Patreon program that are the core members of this group, and they always help me to hold the space for all of you. So hello Parvane, good to see you here. Let's see who else will join here. Also very familiar faces. Who do I see here? Nina, I see Sandy. Yeah, good to see you here. I see Susan, beautiful, and all the beautiful faces here. We have Sue from Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Sharna from Victoria, Australia. And I really love how Sharna acknowledges the indigenous community of Guna Ikurni people, which is the indigenous people who have been there way before the rest of the residents of Australia landed there. So good to see you here. Hello, Sharna. Hello, Joanna, Julie, Patricia, Una, Wanda, Susan, Josie, Gwendolyn from Sherwood, Arkansas. I wonder if there was anyone before who joined from Arkansas. I do not recall. So good to hear. Good to have you here, Gwendolyn, the representation of Arkansas. Today's session is about connecting with the stillness within. And this session builds up very much on the session that we had last week. By the way, a phenomenal session. If you have a chance, go to my YouTube channel and I record these sessions there for you to re-listen or listen or re-listen the past sessions, or simply connect with the parts that you missed. And this session is also streamed to YouTube if you want to visit it there. And the session of breaking free from worry. We had a fantastic discussion and a beautiful meditation. And for those of you who are joining here for the first time, by the way, feel free to raise your hand and notify me that you are here for the first time. I would love to know. These sessions, there is a bit of a conversation, and there's a meditation, and there's a follow-up conversation. So all the parts in the hope of benefiting your well-being. So if you have any comments or questions in the middle of the session or at any point of the session, feel free to type them in the comment section. I would love to address them right away. Kangsha from Adelaide, beautiful, welcome here. Hello, Gabriela, first timer. Hannah, also the first time. Asya, Josie, first timer. Good to see you here. Oh, good to know that you enjoy my meditations. Wanda, Kristen. From Switzerland, we have a European representation. It's very late there, I know. It's about midnight, I believe. Although after the time change, might be not so late, I don't know. Sue, also Tina. Tosca, certainly not for the first time. Hello, Tosca, good to see you here. So I prepared a couple of notes about the stillness within because, as you know me, I'm a scientist, and on top of the first-hand experience, I'd like to build a knowledge base for what we'll be doing in the meditation part and give you a better understanding of the experience that you will have. Because for those of you who know me, my favorite scientific equation of all is that the knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. And wisdom or insight, if you will, is something that I want for you to experience. It's not something I can talk about, it's not something I can give you. It is first-hand experience of yours that ultimately is the most transformative of all experiences that you can have in your life. It's arguably, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe your experience is different, the purpose for us being here in this physical reality is to have experience, is to have an insight about what this is all about. I know that we worry about many a thing throughout our lives, but ultimately the purpose of us being here is to have an experience, have the knowledge, and build up into wisdom and insight about what this is all about, so we can enjoy ourselves more and more and have a better understanding of this life on this planet. So I think to begin our talk about stillness within, maybe I want to start with giving it a bit of a scientific background. For those of you who know me, I'm a scientist. I love using scientific metaphors to elaborate on the topics of our meditations, where you will be able to put into works everything that we talk about. And I think it is important to notice that stillness is not absence of movement. All right. I think one of the biggest cliches about meditation is that when you go into meditation, ultimately you want to make your mind blank. Nothing happens. There's a stillness, complete absence of movement. That I think that pop culture, when you see people that obviously know nothing about meditation and mindfulness, they come on the movies and they try to bring that topic for use for their own purposes. Hey, my mind went blank. Nothing happened. I escaped all my troubles. All my troubles went away. There's nothing there, and I want to stay there forever because it feels so much better than all my worries and all my problems, so I can escape them. Nothing could be more wrong. Stillness is not absence of movement, but the presence of deep awareness. So the quality of deep awareness is stillness. So stillness of the perception. You are not being, using the metaphor, using the line from James Bond. You are neither shaken or stirred by the experience, but the deep awareness is still by its nature. And to represent that stillness, the term I came up with is that awareness or deep awareness is always already and always fulfilled, regardless of the experience that happens in that awareness. And to give you a metaphor that very often is used to describe that, is you watching a movie. So you as a participant go to the cinema and you watch a movie on the screen of your awareness. And on the screen, what you see are the characters, plots, different things are happening. But one unchanging thing, regardless of the nature of the characters and regardless of the storyline, is the screen itself. The screen itself does not change, doesn't matter what you project on it. So your experience, it's a projection on the canvas on the screen of your awareness that remains still and unmoved, not shaken, not stirred. It becomes constant. So what I will invite you today in the meditation part and right now is to recognize the unchanging nature of your awareness. What is changing within awareness is the content. The content comes in and comes out. There are thoughts, as you said, as we said during the last session. There are worries. There are many things that are happening, and awareness remains the same. The challenge and the struggle that we have in our life is not because experience itself is good or bad. It's because we mistake the nature of the reality with the experience. The moment you start recognizing that the movie that plays on the screen of your awareness is not necessarily the whole picture. There's more. There's a screen behind, and there's a reality behind, and this movie just happens in front of you. You begin building much better relationship with the movie. In the same way, you are not necessarily are being completely devastated by the fact that a character of the movie died in the script that has been written, or something terrible happened. The same with awareness. Things will happen in your awareness. You will have experiences, but you will build a much healthier relationship with those thoughts, with emotions, with everything that happens in your life as you start recognizing and being connected, having the first direct experience of being connected with that deep awareness that ultimately we learn how to navigate. This is a one fundamental thing that we learn by meditating, by being mindful, exploring the true nature of reality, that is the deep awareness itself. And to obviously, for me, it is very easy to say those words, and they may even make sense for you, and they make you feel good. Oh yeah, I understood something better. But obviously, when you put it into action, so to speak, it doesn't make it any easier. You will still feel that you struggle, still feel that things are happening. So that's the unchanging nature of the reality. That reality, for us, in order for us to learn, you have to watch the movie. Right? Unlike the things that we are made believe, having the blank mind, nothing happens. No, the movie, it's still happening on the screen. But you watch the movie, you learn from the movie, and you learn better how to navigate it. So to translate it into, so this is metaphorical description of the stillness within, right? And feel free to ask questions regarding that. And because I'm a scientist, I also have take another angle to describe the stillness within, and that's the neuroscientific part of it, which I really, really like, because again, that's what I'm trained with, and that's what I resonate with. That's what helps me to understand reality better. So you know already that your nervous system within your body has two branches. There's a sympathetic branch that is responsible for stress and anxiety and arousal in general. And there's a parasympathetic branch of the nervous system that is responsible for resting and digesting of things. And all the thoughts that you experience, all the worries will activate the sympathetic branch of your nervous system, and your direct experience of it will be that of arousal, something that you may tag as stress, anxiety. However, the mindful awareness, it's been shown by research over and over again, if you translate it into the language of neuroscience, will activate your vagus nerve. And vagus nerve is the nerve who's running throughout. It's the longest nerve within your body that connects with many, many different organs and regulates the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, the branch that is responsible for rest and digest. So on the physical level, connecting with the deep awareness is the physical manifestation of it is activating your vagus nerve and experiencing the rest and digest, from which, by the way, you are much better connected with the executive part of your brain, which is that walnut-shaped structure, prefrontal cortex, where emotions are being processed. Okay, so you basically you empower yourself by doing the mindfulness and meditation practices that connect you with the stillness within. You basically regulate your body, and you start regulating your emotions to help you to connect reality, to watch this movie on the screen of your awareness with a bit more steadiness. Recognize, oh, well, it's a movie on the screen. It's not me. So I can watch it. I can enjoy it without being completely identified with it. And just because the character on the screen of the movie dies doesn't mean that you die. Right? It's another, maybe a metaphor of how to relate to the reality around you from the perspective of deep awareness. When you start connecting with the stillness within. And so what we will do today will ultimately stimulate that state of deep relaxation and will help you to see things from a different perspective. And another scientific fact, which I'm very much embracing through many tracks on Insight Timer, is the state of your brain. So you have the vagus nerve that connects your brain with many organs and runs throughout your body. Then scientists, when they try to find out how you feel, they want to find ways to describe that state. They cannot just say, oh, you feel this or that. They need to have an evidence. And usually what we use to do it is the EEG. It's the tracking of the brain patterns and the frequencies that happen within your brain. And you might be familiar that you experience different brain waves. Your brain depends on your state, produces different waves. So the waves when you feel, when you think, or when you feel stressed, your brain will predominantly produce a beta brain waves. Okay, and when you feel calm and when you connect it with your intuition, when you are in that deep restful state, your brain will mostly be in the alpha and theta brainwave frequency. And this is a description. Again, this is a very important thing. Science is not reality. Science is a description of reality to help us understand better how the reality works. So when you have a direct experience, you don't need to think about the fact, oh, let me think what state my brain is in. Oh, is it alpha? Is it beta? Is it theta? Is it gamma? It doesn't really matter. However, if you want to measure, understand yourself better, you have that knowledge as you have first-hand experience. And that is very helpful, mostly for people who are scientifically minded like myself. But again, just because you know something, it doesn't change the nature of your first-hand experience. First-hand experience is primary. Description of it is a secondary. In the same way, something I use very often, description of the orange, how it looks, how it smells, how it tastes, will never be primary, will be a substitute for the fact when you taste it, when you smell it, when you see it, when you experience it. Okay? But there are when you see next time an orange that looks and smells and tastes like that, or maybe looks and smells, you can make a better decision that this orange gives me a better experience than the other. Okay, so the first 10 experience informs the future decisions. Okay, and that's why it's important to practice and get better and better about nature, about connecting with your awareness. All right, so every conscious experience, every time you choose to connect deeply with the awareness that is primary, you learn more about the reality, and the next time you make more and more informed, and if they're more informed, they usually better decisions about what about your life, right? And that's why the empowerment part, that connecting deeply with the stillness within, with the awareness, deep nature of awareness, helps you with. That's why many people who meditate experience transformation in their lives, because they start understanding the nature of reality better and make better choices about the life, choices that are more aligned with who they are, as opposed to with their false beliefs of who they are. Okay? So we are told continuously how things are, how the reality functions. And some of those, some of the things being told are correct, but many of them are false. I don't have to tell you that we live in times of misinformation. You are very often being told not what is good for you, but what is good for the person or people who produce the information. It suits their agenda. And by following it, we simply fulfilling their agendas, not necessarily our agenda. So in order to know what is your agenda and fulfill your personal agenda and people, loved ones that are around you, you have to get to know better yourself and the nature of the reality around you. Okay? So this is the scientific description of why it is important to connect with that stillness within. All right. And secondary, this is why we must not mistake the stillness within as an absence of movement. It's simply, we must recognize it as the presence of deep awareness. That's what the stillness represents. It represents the presence of deep awareness. And before the emergence of science, this has been recognized very much so, way before science came on board and provided a scientific description of this phenomenon. Many wisdom traditions has already come up with it through direct experience. And they describe that even though they don't know the presence of vagus nerve or how your nervous system works or how your brain works or what's happening in your body on a cellular level, they knew that connecting with that stillness within opens a gateway to insight, healing, and more present life. They discovered that by doing various practices. If you go to any tradition, you have Buddhist philosophy, you have Christianity, you have Sufism, you have many different traditions that they possess that deep wisdom only on the, they call it the, most likely the mystical branches of all the religions and different wisdom traditions. They possess that. I'm not talking about organized religion, which is simply a way to run a business. Very effective, by the way. I'm talking about the mystical part. Mystical part are not interested in in how to rule a society. They're interested in personal transformation. So I'm talking about the mystical branches of all the wisdom traditions, well, religions and wisdom traditions. They discovered that connecting with the stillness is within leads to insight and healing and presence. Okay. And I think that the one metaphor before we jump into meditation that it's very often used to describe that is that of a puddle on the road. Okay. So there's a puddle on the road, and the sun shines on it. And as long as the puddle is stirred and shaken, the mud arises and stops the light from penetrating the water. So you can't see anything. But when you start, what we do in connecting with stillness within, with mindfulness practice, with meditation, if you allow enough time for all the particles, just observe them rather than keep stirring them, keep connecting with them, let them settle. If you allow them to settle, if you are patient enough to observe them for what they are without stirring them up, you will see that the light eventually penetrates and you see the clear water in the puddle. The mud settles in, and the mud is obviously it's the mud in this metaphor is a representation of our state of mind, of all the worries, of all the thoughts, all the false belief systems about the reality and our assumptions that we have. So in this practice that we will start in just a moment, we will recognize, we will not say, oh, there's no mud. There is mud, and that's okay. We simply observe and recognize it for what it is. And by doing so, we let it settle. And by letting it settle, we will obtain much better clarity about the situation, not being obstructed by the particles, the worries, the assumptions, the false belief systems, and so on and so forth. I very much appreciate your donations, Guy. Your donations. I can see that you being very generous. And let me just add that I believe that the previous sessions, Breaking Free from Worry, was the most generous of all sessions I have done. Maybe except of the very beginning when the live sessions when you on Insight Timer. So I want to thank you for your incredible generosity. It really helped me a big way to do what I do and to connect with you on the deeper level. Emilia from Sydney, and salutes to you too. Very good to see you here. Do you have, since this is, I really would like to have a conversation with you, but since you are not connected with me in the visual way or audio way, only through your comments, do you have any questions or comments related to what I just said? Because let's face it, it doesn't matter what I say. I do not say new things. I do not believe I'm very original in what I'm saying. But what is unique is my connection with you and the conversation that I hope to facilitate through talking to you about the wisdom, about science, about direct experience, and all those things. So any questions or comments regarding what we just said before we jump into the meditation part? Thank you, Josie. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Mimi. You are also very generous and kind. Thank you. Parvana asks, so does this mean that by accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, we calm the sympathetic nervous system, and for instance, through meditation? That's a very good question. Thank you for asking it. Again, I want to point out that even though I use those terms of sympathetic branch of your autonomous nervous system, parasympathetic branch of your autonomous system, these are descriptions that help you to understand what is happening within your body when you access the state of awareness or deep awareness through your meditation. But they are just descriptions. So what is happening when you in a state of deep awareness, if I connected you to scientific instruments to measure activity of your nervous system, they would detect indeed that the activity of your sympathetic branch of the nervous system decreases and the activity of your parasympathetic branch of the nervous system increases. But ultimately, neither of them cease to function. They simply start supporting each other and acting in unison. None of them is dominant. They simply become harmonious, which is ultimately the way we want to operate. We do not want to be completely devoted of any excitation, or and rest completely and be absolutely relaxed. What I invite you to in meditation is to be calm but alert. That calmness would represent the activity of the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, and alertness will represent the activity of the sympathetic branch of your autonomous nervous system. See? So that's what it is. But again, your direct experience will tell you where you are. If you feel, oh, I'm too stressed, I'm too aroused, that's indication that your sympathetic branch is somewhat more aroused or dominates over the parasympathetic. If you're just all groggy and about to fall asleep, it means that the activity of the sympathetic branch is diminished and parasympathetic branch of your nervous system took over. But you see, neither of them, if they are in overdrive, are positive. Falling asleep during your meditation will take away the consciousness, will take away from the conscious experience. And being stressed and anxious would also stop you from fully experiencing the nature of the reality. Both branches have to be in balance. Parvane, does that answer your question or clarifies what is happening within you? Thank you, Wanda. I'm glad that that answer resonates with you. Thank you, Parvane. Thank you for asking the question. Okay, I think we are ready to start meditating. And as I stated at the beginning of our session, I prepared for you Planet Earth by Peter Helen to accompany us in our exploration. I switched the screen to the meditation screen. And meditation screen is the representation of taking focus away from me, because I am not the object of this meditation. I'm simply a guide who points out towards what there is to explore. Then ultimately you make choice to go there and have your direct experience. And therefore the candle and its steadiness and its stillness, but look at the candle before you close your eyes. The candle, when you look at the picture, there's a stillness there, but it doesn't mean there's an absence of movement. The flame still moves and flickers and changes. And this is a great metaphor of what we are about to embark upon. We are not there to observe the lack of movement, but we are there to deepen awareness about the about the natural movement that happens within our awareness. Okay. Welcome to Stillness Within guided meditation, in which you will recognize the nature of the reality. Reality is as complex as our life experience. It continuously changes. It moves from one state to another. However, there is one aspect, the fundamental foundation of all your experience, that is unchanging. And that is the awareness within which your life experience happens. Your body is a wonderful medium that allows you to experience the physical nature of your reality. And right now, at the beginning of this session, I want to invite you to recognize the quality of the presence through the medium of your body. How does it feel to be an awareness within your body? A metaphor that very often being used is that we all possess the soul. But I want to invite you to consider possibility that the soul possesses us as a physical body. So even though you experience life through your 5 physical senses, the awareness is greater than just your body and your senses. The soul encompasses all and is the steady point of who you are. If you are happy, this experience happens in awareness. If you are sad, this is also an experience in awareness. So awareness itself is the common denominator of all that happens. So right now I can imagine that you feel a certain way. There might be thoughts arising, coming and going. There might be bodily sensations that are present. See for yourself, who is the experiencer of all of the above? What is the location of that agent of experience? Is it located in any part of your body? Is it defined by any thought that comes your way? There is a space between every thought. There is a gap between different bodily sensations. Search that space between the stimulus and response, and you will find the steady background of it all that is awareness itself. Awareness that is steady, still, always present, and already fulfilled. And you are that awareness. And we all are that awareness, individuated with personal traits, being unique in our experience, our appearance, but united by the nature of awareness itself. Awareness that is formless. Only the experience is perceived as a form. In the same way that the presence of thinking does not deny the space between the thoughts. The awareness represents the steady stillness within each and all experience. I will let you now to navigate this space on your own and experience for yourself what this means to you. And I'll be here by your side to help you, to support you, and to hold the space. And now it is time to shift your awareness back to the physical senses that define the physical reality. And now, being connected with awareness, you can do it consciously. You just learn how to consciously move your awareness from one experience to another. You can simply rest in the stillness of the awareness, or move it towards any aspect of your life, in this case, your physical senses. So begin by connecting with your vision, even though your eyes are closed. You can still perceive some brighter and dark areas in front of your vision field. Now connect with your hearing through the sound of my voice, through the music that you hear. Briefly touch upon taste and smell, even though they might not be very present in this very moment. And finally, land on the sense of touch as represented by the boundaries of your physical body, your skin that connects with the space around you. Feel your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap. Feel your sit bones on the surface you are sitting now. Now add a gentle movement, starting with your toes, slowly and gently moving your fingers, and conclude by taking one deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Thank you so much for meditating with me. That was truly wonderful. What was your experience of the awareness? Were you able to connect with the awareness itself and explore the reality? I always say it's so much better I feel inspired to do it together with you. It seems like the energy is so much more conducive to the exploration. The same way, when I travel, I want to meet people. I want to meet fellow travelers and explore together. It's just so much more interesting. I think this is the social nature of our reality. But I'll be curious to know, what is your experience? How did you feel? Now, in retrospect, you can examine the experience. It's still fresh. So it's good to explore it when it's fresh. Still, you retain a lot in your memory. So how did it feel to you? What did you take away from it? Parvane, I find body sensations so dominant. Very interesting. Body sensations dominate the experience. Now you may ask yourself, what is the reason for that? What is the message there? And I'm simply asking a question. I do not have an answer. It may sound as if I'm asking a question because I know the answer. No, this is the beauty of it. You may sometimes emerge from the meditations with many more questions than answers. But you know that this is what the nature of reality is. It's ever expanding, never will be able to get to the bottom of it. It may sound as a curse from the perspective of the mind that tries to understand and grasp everything, but it's a blessing from the perspective of the awareness that has no limits of its experience. Patricia says, "Calm tranquility today." So that was lovely. Thank you. For some reason, I found evening meditations challenging. I often feel restless. I'm very much like you, Sue. Evening meditations for me are often challenging because the medium through which I meditate is the medium of the physical body. And the physical body is, in my case, is tired, or the mental capacity, mental currency that I already spent throughout the day, it's not there. It will be difficult to connect with awareness through the medium of the physical body. And then the sleep becomes the best meditation. But I understand that very much, Sue. That evenings are always, mornings are easier, evenings are more difficult from the very practical point of view. Karen, I had a hard time focusing tonight. Mimi, grateful for the experience, and I'm grateful for your presence. Thank you, Mimi. Sandy, calm and peaceful. Patricia says every meditation is different, and this is a very good point. Our experience is very much influenced by everything that you have already experienced, our current state of body and mind. And therefore, when you recognize that your mind wants to control things and wants every meditation to be peaceful and such and has certain qualities, and when you recognize that each meditation is a brand new experience, this is where you start truly understanding the nature of the reality, the ever-changing nature of reality. The only constant is the awareness, as the stillness within. The picture on the screen changes all the time. Characters come and go. The thoughts appear, disappear. It's ever-changing. This is a great insight. Nina, I love feeling the different levels within my body. The stillness is so calm, like floating, difficult to get back into the state to find the words. And this is another good point. Words are a description of the first-hand experience, but they're not the experience itself. Even the most insightful poem is not the substitute for what the author experienced and tries to explain by writing it. Okay. Joanna, I felt as an observer more active than normal meditations. Very different. Different means that it was a unique experience, and unique experience gives a rise to an insight. So I'm glad to hear that. Sharna, very challenging this morning as there are people outside using power tools as it's daytime here. Glad to be here. Sharna, there's no really, you can experience power tools in your awareness, but in this case, it's a very good point actually that power tools, we had a gardener using tools outside. And this is part of the reason why I'm using these big headphones, because they shield me to some extent from making my hearing as a dominant input to my awareness. And this is for a good reason, right? You want to have a good hearing, right? But if there are power tools being used outside, this is going to be your dominant sense. So nothing wrong with that. This is simply not what you were aiming for. So now the meditation is over, and see if you can simply listen to the power tools. It's not going to be a pleasant experience, but at least it's going to be a conscious one. So there's maybe a different. Karen, thank you so much for your donation. By the way, you've been very, very generous to me, and I want to say a big thank you for your kindness and generosity and your presence during this meditation. Thank you, Joanna. It's so very kind of you. And on that note, I want to tell you that on Wednesday, we will be continuing on the topic of stillness within. And this time, we will use the inner alchemy. And what is alchemy? Alchemy, it's an art of transformation. So please sign up and join me on Wednesday, on Tuesday if you're in the US, Tuesday evening, for another session during which we will once again explore the nature of your experience in reality and try to better understand what is happening, why it's happening, and why it is important to create an understanding of it so your decisions are more informed, so your life is more empowered and more fulfilled. You're not being a victim in the life story. You are being the main character in the life story. Inner alchemy, the art of inner transformation, how to transform stress and worries, the talk about breaking free from worries, into balance through practice of guided awareness and breath. Breath will be one of the characters in the Wednesday session. But before that, I just want to thank you for this session and for your contribution to Group of Conscious Living Collective. It was fantastic, and it will continue on Wednesday. I wish you a pleasant day or restful night wherever you are, and I will leave you with Peter Helland and his planet Earth. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your attention, for your mental currency that you offered to Conscious Living Collective, to me, and to everybody who was here. Until then.